I found a variety of news topics for my current events project. These are the articles I found during week 1 and 2 of searching for news articles related to ethnicity and race, class and SES, gender, sexual orientation, exceptionality, language, religion, geography, and youth culture. These are the articles I found during the third and fourth week of searching for news articles on the same topics. This is a t-shirt that lists the news articles I found on gender. The left column lists the articles of current events I found throughout the 4 weeks. The column on the right lists articles I found from the past related to gender as well. One of the first current events I found on gender was a video of kids reacting to Bruce Jenner's decision from his transformation from a male to a female. And this relates to gender because it's the difference between gender, which is what society views as what should be a girl or a boy, and biological sex, which is what the physical traits that of a male and a female, and how for some people it's not, the two of them are not necessarily the same. The next current event article that I found that related to gender was about a 20-year-old Texan named Sadie Hernandez, and she was protesting in front of the Texas governor's office mansion, Greg Abbott, because his new budget would eliminate the funding that allows Planned Parenthood to provide cancer screening to low-income women. And this is an injustice to women that she viewed as unfair, and so did many other people, as the picture notes, who that held signs and protested with her. She's a role model in the case. She can be served as a role model in the case of young girls who are fighting for the rights of women, especially those related to health. Michelle Obama, the First Lady of the United States, is also a huge role model for women and young girls, not only here in the U.S., but all around the world. During her European tour, she announced plans for a $200 million donation towards programs to promote girls' education worldwide. Education is a privilege that's available for women here in the U.S. Means like financial aid are available to them and scholarships, but the same can't be said for young girls who are living in third world countries who need the assistance for them to get higher education. Melissa Mayhew can also be seen as a role model for young girls because of her achievements in sports. She is a 16-year-old French shortstop who has recently been added to the Major League Baseball international registration list. It is said that she will most likely not be drafted into any Major League Baseball team, but her being added into the registration list is a huge accomplishment overall and a huge gain for women. As I dug deeper in news articles related to gender, one of the older articles that I found was from the New York Times from February 5th, 1905, and it was about how women's higher education led to divorce. And that article explained how the leading cause for divorce at that time was a rise in higher education of women. And it was basically stating how men did not like it so much that their wives were being educated and they were not seen as sophisticated as the husband were. And ironically, further down on that same newspaper page were a list of inventions attributed to women, and they were different cases of inventions that were not only found because of higher education, but purely because of them learning the trick of their trade and wanting to make their jobs easier, leading to inventions that put women higher on the list. Marie Curie is one of the women that was in that list of inventions by women, And what she invented was a machine that would weave straw and silk together to create hats for that time. And her invention at the time was pretty noteworthy, as were all the other inventions listed on that list. And that showed a lot for women and their potential. And as we all know now, many other inventions have been made by women, a lot of what we have today. And that shows a lot for women and their potential. Another article that I found related to gender dates back to August 28, 1918, also published in the New York Times, and it was about women petitioning for the right to vote. In New York alone, they were able to get 500,990 signatures, which was much more for the signatures of the men who were voting against the women's right to vote. This is a picture of one of the booths that would bring attention to women, where they could easily go in and sign their signature. They informed women, they brought awareness to the right to vote and why it's necessary. And this, along with many others, is what helped them get so many signatures. All of that petitioning and all of that hard work was put to good use through the actual passage of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. And this has obviously changed how we are today as a nation, because any woman who is a U.S. citizen can go in and vote whomever they want. And now there's even women who have been in Congress and who are currently in Congress and major offices. And Hillary Clinton is an example of a woman who's running for president. And that shows how women have gone a long way from the inability to vote to running for president. One of the other articles that I found was about, dates back into July 18th, 1943, and it was about 16 million people who were registered in the workforce, and that number was increasing due to the lack of men in the workforce because of World War II. And it was predicted in that article that most of them would quit their job or return to working in jobs more suitable for women, like in retail shops and in sales. The reason why it was predicted that these women would go back to being a housewife or go back to jobs more suitable for women was because of the prejudice in the society at the time. The women themselves even said so, that when the men come back, they'd want to return as the role as a housewife, because that is what she thought was expected of her. And in a way, their minds would be warped towards what they believed they should be as women. And even though they became to be happy with their previous jobs in the work field, whether it was an agriculture or industrial job, they believe that it's best to go back to being a housewife because that is what they were supposed to be. This is a poster that was meant to, at that time, motivate women to join the workforce. And for some reason, after the war ended, they went back to their other roles as housewives or not women who would have jobs in industrial jobs or in agriculture. And this is a poster that they still should have believed, that they should still have believed that they have the power to do what they want to do, and that they can do it, and they can do whatever they set their mind to. And this is actually an ideal that most women today will probably identify with. Another news article I found dates back to July 25th of 1984, and it was about a woman, a Russian astronaut. She became the first woman to walk in space. Her name was Svetlana Savitskaya. She was actually 36 years old, and she became the first woman to walk in space, and she showed how effective women can be during complex research work. She showed this because of her abilities. She was able to pass rigorous training during her work in space. She did cutting, welding, soldering on metal plates and spraying and coating. She did a lot of work that would be considered rigorous for a lot of men at that time, even today, and she was applauded and could be seen as a role model for that. Right after her was another astronaut, Dr. Sullivan, Catherine Sullivan, and she was the first female astronaut, American female astronaut. And as noted in this picture, there have been many female astronauts after her. And that's a big accomplishment for women, because women are also seen today as astronauts too. And it's not so much, children of today can't so much say that astronauts are only male. They are now growing up to see that women are astronauts too, and it's a profession in which both men and women can be a part of. Another news article that I found that was more recent dates back to November 19 of the year 2000, and it stated that Judith Brodin was the first woman to lead an Ivy League college and was also the highest paid university president at that time. She was actually the university president of the University of Pennsylvania, and she did have a higher salary compared to the other university presidents. And she broke the notion that society sees that women get paid less for the same job as men. She actually reversed that, and she was a woman who was actually getting paid more for men doing the same job in that same field. And that says a lot about the potential of women, that even though a lot of women are seen as being paid less that for the same job as men, there are exceptions to that, and we should not use that to bring us down. We should be determined to break that standard and to show the world what we really can do. This is a remake of the iconic image that I showed earlier in this photo story, and you can see how it has completely changed. It still says that women can do whatever they put their mind to. That little sticker on her collar is an I voted sticker, which shows that she already has the right to vote. In her hand is a diploma, and it's already checked off because she has already received her education. And I believe that picture towards the bottom is her influence in politics, and how the majority of women can either pass or deny something on their mere massive number of votes or voting against something. And that just shows how, and women should see this and see this as a motivation, see this as women do have a lot more influence now and a lot more power, and we should use that towards our advantage. And not to say that men have less power or they should not be seen as having power as well, but we should be seen as a society in which men and women are equal, and they have equal opportunities and equal rights. And each should be able to be empowered to do whatever they set their mind to. And as teachers, we should also do that. We should see the true potential of each little girl, each young boy in our class, and see that they have the potential to be any person they want to in any profession. And we should help them reach that potential in any way we can.